Hey, Baylor fans, this is your call to gear up with Harley-Davidson of Waco. Whether you're hitting the open road or tailgating at McLean Stadium, we've got the ride to match your Bear pride. Check out our wide selection of new and pre-owned motorcycles, visit our service department, or shop all the latest gear and accessories to show off your Baylor spirit and Harley pride. Visit us today and find your freedom on two wheels. Harley-Davidson of Waco, where Baylor fans never ride alone. Visit in-store or at hdwaco.com. Sic Em Bears.
Hi, everybody. Welcome into our Sic Em Podcast presented by Harley-Davidson of Waco. Harley-Davidson Waco. We need to get a Harley in here on the set at some point. But today we got something else that's fast, someone that is fast. Welcome in Aaliyah Miller, one of the greats in Baylor women's track and field, now back at Baylor on the coaching staff. Welcome to you. It's great to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I really have not seen you in 2 years, maybe?
2 years, yeah, a little, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it is great to see and great to have you back and coaching on Coach Ford's staff. How's that going?
It's going great. I feel like when I came in, it felt like, time didn't really pass, but it did. But it's been really nice just to see how much the program has changed.
Yeah. Is coaching something you have always wanted to do in the back of your mind, or is this just a good opportunity for you right now?
Yeah, I feel like the timing was really great for me in my professional career running, and then the opportunity came up, and I was like, I feel like this is the best way to see, how much I do like coaching, and been to 2 meets so far, and we had a couple meets underneath our belt, and I feel like it's a really nice change and change in environment, and also just kind of changes your perspective on how best I can serve the student athletes, given that I was in their position not too long ago, and just making sure that I can be the right person for them.
That's great. And you were in their position not long ago and doing it very, very well. Great career, 9 times All Big 12, first woman at Baylor ever to win a NCAA national championship, that 800 indoors in 2021. So I would hope when you speak they listen to you, right?
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's also really special, just given my career too. Like, it wasn't all successful from the start. Went through ups and downs, and I feel like that's what makes your journey in college special. You just celebrate the highs, but also you have to acknowledge the lows.
Yeah. And still running professionally now. I'm guessing, do you get out there and run with the people you're coaching a little bit now?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm doing stuff on my own, but on the longer stuff, it's nice to have the company with the girls, and just have some little chats and stuff here and there. But it's been really interesting. Some of the girls that are on the team now were freshmen when I was my 6th year.
Okay.
So now the transition is from going from Aaliyah to Coach Aaliyah, and just making sure that we're in our roles now.
Yeah, very cool. How about your professional career? How is that going, and what's that like?
Professional career has been going good. It's definitely been a transition, just getting a sponsorship, having an agent, and then figuring out, how to train and live and, be in this new environment. But I feel like, through everything, I've learned a lot about, what works best for me and my training and my lifestyle and my environment. So it's definitely one of those things where you kind of do have to be thrown in it, and then just kind of figure it out from there. But it's definitely good to be back, on campus and in this college environment, and just train again.
Good. So you can run professionally and coach. I mean, they can coexist, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think you get out of Baylor where things are a lot of times so structured, and you got class and you got practice and you got meetings and you got, compliance and all these things that you have to do when you're here. You get out of that and you're kind of on your own, aren't you? Have you found that to be the case?
Yeah, I feel like that was one of the big transitions for me. My last year, I was fortunate to get an internship with Learfield, and so then I was going to class, going to practice, and working, which was a lot, but it was really fun. And then once I moved to Colorado and started training, and I only had running, I was like, man, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my day? So it was an interesting transition because, when you're in college, you're like, oh, I can't wait to be pro, I can't wait to do this. And a lot of the times it's like, it's good to live in the moment and really appreciate what you have. Not that I didn't. didn't.
Right.
But it was one of those things where it's like, it was a little bit of a transition.
Yeah.
But, I feel like I learned a lot in those times too.
That's funny you say that. So when I graduated from Baylor, way before you, my last semester, I was taking 18 hours, and I finished and graduated in December, and I was working full time, and it was in the fall, so I was editing tape for the Grant Taft football show. So I was working like 60 hours a week and 18 hours. And when I graduated, all of a sudden it was just work, and I thought, I have so much time. What do I do with all this time?
I know. It's one of those things like, I can't wait to do it. And then you're in it and you're like,
That's
Am
right.
I supposed to be doing
That's
something
right.
else,
What else is there? Well, it's cool that you're back. It really is fun. And I'm guessing you're working with middle distance runners?
Yes, I am. So I'm working closely with David Barnett, so that's been really great, especially because when his first year on staff, it was my last year. So we only had 1 year, and it was kind of like new. But it's also really great to be, an athlete under him. So then when I'm talking to the athletes now, it's like, hey, I've been around and I've seen how things go. So
yeah.
I feel like that's helpful when someone else has been in, your shoes.
Absolutely. And I would guess as close as you are in age to some of these, that you're now coaching, you can coach them in on the track stuff, but you're also kind of like a
little bit of mentor.
Yeah, exactly. And off the track stuff like that.
Yeah, because there's so much more that goes on in, collegiate racing than you think. You're leaving home for the first time. You're going through like classes, like, say you fail a test and then, have to deal with that, and you're working with SACE and all of them. So there's a lot of like unexpected journeys that you're not going to know that you go through, but I feel like it's all part of the experience, and, the staff, and we're all here for them.
Yeah.
It's just making sure that they all have like a go-to person, I guess, in a sense, to, have that outlet for.
Good. It was fun when you were here, and part of that busy last semester was working with our multimedia rights holder.
Yeah.
And so we got to work together a little bit. That was fun. Was that a good experience for you?
Yeah, it really was. I was actually thinking about the radio show we had.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
That was really
Right.
cool. I really liked that.
That's good. I mean, it was fun having you in that role. knowing you as a student athlete, but then having you work with them also was really cool. Your degree at Baylor your first degree was?
Within marketing.
Okay.
And then I got my master's in sports management.
Okay, gotcha. So past running, have you thought about that? Like when your running career is done, what do you see yourself doing?
That I do not know. I feel like it's one of those things where I am very, deeply rooted into sports. And it was really exciting, learning just the multimedia rights side of sports, because in the business school, they don't really talk about, sponsorship and sales, but it is such a big thing. I know it is a major, but I feel like I was able to see a really different and unique sport or side in the sport. So I thought that was really unique. But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where a lot of the times you can't plan what you want to do.
Sure.
And I feel like, if an opportunity comes up, then I'll see from there. But definitely eyes are focused on LA in 2028. So
Nice.
that's, it's like 3-4 years away from now.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing. And then I'll figure out what I want to do after that.
Yeah. So I guess 3.5 years away now. So countdown is on. Does it help any at all? Or have you talked to Coach Ford? He was an assistant coach on the U.S. Olympic team this past Olympics. Has that helped at all?
I feel like it's amazing for him to even get that experience, and just to see all that firsthand. It was really nice to have a little bit of Baylor represented on the team.
Very fun. He was with the sprints. So so it would be a little bit different. Where are the outdoor Olympics in 28?
LA.
Oh, that's right. You just said that.
Yeah.
Oh, how great would that be?
To have an Olympics, in
Yeah.
America, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially to try to be on the team for
Right.
that. Yeah.
Do you have a vision board or anything where you got the Olympics up there? As
I'm
one of
not
those
really
things?
too much of a vision board person, but maybe I should be. But no, it's definitely something that you start seeing the ads and all the partnerships for that, start to happen, especially after the last Olympics going on. So it's definitely something that's going to be talked about. So
Good.
It's definitely fun.
Are you said you have been in Colorado. Have you been tied in at all to the U.S. Olympic Center up there?
No, that's more kind of in the Colorado Springs area.
Okay, gotcha. You were around Boulder.
Yeah, I was around Boulder.
Gotcha. When you were here as an undergrad, you kind of went through a lot, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Especially in the early years.
Yeah.
What's that? Going through that, how does that help now when you're coaching and you can kind of relate to some of your student athletes now?
Yeah, I feel like, well, coming out of high school, I was very highly recruited. So that was one of those things of, wanting to instantly make an impact on the team. And right when, I think it was my indoor season, my freshman year, I break the school record and I'm on cloud 9, and I also broke my foot and didn't know it at the time.
Right.
So it was a bit of like, a little bit of a letdown just to come off that high of like, hey, like, I'm ranked 7 in the nation. I'm going to go to indoor nationals as a freshman and then immediately be in a cast and sit out. So that was definitely one of those like hard things to go through. But then in hindsight, it's one of those things where since I had, that extra year of eligibility when it came time to redshirting later, that COVID year, going into 2020, I had 1 indoor and 2 outdoors, which was the Olympic year. So the plan with my coach was, hey, let's redshirt indoors, race outdoors 2020, and get ready for the Olympic trials. And then COVID happened, and anybody that used that year was done. And it was one of those things where, if I used it, I probably wouldn't have been in the position that I am today. So when I came back in 2021, that was this special year, won my first and only title, and it was very, very special. And it's one of those things where a lot of times, you can put pressure on yourself and like have this, written map out of like how you want your career to go. But a lot of times, it's not really in your control all the time, and just focusing on what you can control, which is, what you're putting forth every day at practice, like your mindset, like how well you're doing in classes, because it all comes together. And it's not all about racing, like, how are you doing personally? So it's definitely one of those like transitional periods in college, but it's a very big balancing game. But we have so much help here, and I'm really, really thankful for it, because, even those times when you're, down bad, I would say it's like, I have the training staff to, help, talk to, or even some of my coaches, and even coaches that aren't even, coaching me. It's nice to even have that other outlet. So there's definitely a lot of help here to help you be the best.
Very nice. Very nice. You sound like a coach, sharing that.
Already recruiting.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty good recruiting pitch, and it's absolutely true, too. So that 21 season, indoors especially, was just terrific. What stands out in your mind from that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely nationals. I mean, that was...
Where was that?
That was in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and it was also my first time racing in that track indoors.
Oh, okay.
And it was my first national final. So that was I feel like one of the big things I could not really get over is like, I would make it to nationals and make it to the semis and could never, make it out to the final. So, making it to the final was a really big step for me. But, I had goals of trying to win it. So it was kind of twofold of like, hey, make the final. Okay, check. But, we still have a bigger goal to get tomorrow. So it definitely was a very, very special day. But I would say it was very weird because they still didn't allow fans. So there was like nobody really in the arena. So
Strange,
it was really weird to, win a national title and not have anybody there, like, or running and not hearing that much screaming. So, but it was very special.
Yeah. You went through COVID and came out of it on the other side. But that had to be so strange for you to go through, for everybody going through that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even just obviously for like the medical and training staff, I mean, I feel like they had it the hardest of trying to track where we all are with contact tracing and the testing that we had to go through, like bi-weekly, I think, just to make sure that we're safe enough to be able to compete. I mean, I know a lot of, money and resources and time and meetings went into making sure we can all travel. I even remember coming back from conference, we drove to Lubbock, and on the way back, one of the buses broke down, and everybody that was making it to nationals had to squeeze onto one bus, and everybody else had to go on the other one because we didn't want to be like contact trace it. For safety, because like, what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks, I think, with contact tracing, and like that'll knock you out of a couple weeks. So it was a lot of tricky, planning, and couldn't really go back home that much, obviously for, good reason. So it was definitely a tricky time, but, it worked out.
What a crazy time that was when you think back on it. And it wasn't that long ago.
No.
Like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So you won and you're the Baylor school record holder in the indoor and outdoor 800, correct?
Yep.
And the Big 12 meet record holder indoor and outdoor in the 800.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's right.
It could be. I don't know.
We're going to say it. Let somebody else correct us.
I know. It's one of those things, with the conference realignment, there's a lot more schools in there, and, everybody wants a little bit of it.
That's true. We're going to say it and let somebody correct us if it's not correct. But a lot of our viewers and listeners may not know this, but there's a wall in the track complex that has the school record holders up there. Your name's up there?
Yes, it is.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on a nice gold, shiny board.
Yeah.
And it's really special when you get to break a record because you get to put it in there
It's
yourself.
huge.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I mean, given the history here of Baylor track and field in all events, it's not just quarter mile or in all events. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely really special. Just even at the time that I joined Baylor, there's some pretty big names, so just to be a part of the list is very, very special.
Good. Who or what's the ramp up schedule if you've got the Olympics in LA in 2028, on your radar? What's that look like now here in January of 2025?
Yeah, well, that actually sounds so crazy saying January 2025, but yeah, I feel like right now it's one of those things of making sure I'm getting in the good training and, sharpening up my races and my race strategies and, practicing getting through rounds and stuff. So I feel like there's a lot I can work on in these next couple of years that I'm really looking forward to. And I'm glad I have the time to do it too. There's nothing worse than working against the clock, but, we're working with the clock and we have time, and I'm really excited for the future. So yeah.
Good. We're excited for you. We'd love nothing better than to see you Team USA in 2028.
I know, right?
That'd be fun. There's obviously a lot of meets between now and then. What would be some of the milestone big meets? Is there a world championship?
Yeah, there's world championship teams. So yeah, so that's so it'll go through the same process of making sure you have the standard, and then once you have the standard, then it's just straight racing and see who gets top 3 to make the team. So we have a couple years to figure all that out and to get that championship racing down. So it'll be really good.
Good. Very good. All the while, do you see yourself being here in Waco for a while? I mean,
yeah.
you can do what you need. You can train here and coach.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where, I get to do 2 really great things at the same time, and I feel like that's really special.
Yeah.
And you definitely can learn a lot more about myself personally as a runner through coaching too. It's one of those things where if I'm telling the athletes to do something, I can hold myself to that same standard of a lot of times hey, today was really cold, but it's I was just out there too. So it's get your mind right, let's get the workout done, and I only have you for this little time, let's focus, get the work in, and yeah. Good.
And you've got that perspective, you've been through it, and hopefully they'll see that and they can listen and learn from that. What final question for you? What was your time at Baylor like off the track? Everything besides track and field. How was that for you?
It was pretty great. I feel like that was one of the also big reasons why I came to Baylor. It was hard, obviously, when I got hurt my freshman year, so I wasn't doing all the fun stuff of traveling and racing. But during that time, I really got to be more immersed with the university and, create friends that, aren't in sport too, which was really nice. And I think it was really special just, to have the chance to get 2 degrees, but also to meet the people that I'm able to along the way and still reconnect with them. I know one of the people that I went to school with in grad school, Peter, we both moved to Colorado at the same time. So it was nice to have that little piece of Baylor, with us, that we connected with. But yeah, it's really special, and it's really nice, the love that people have for Baylor, and to also just, meet people and grow with them.
Good. Very good. Well, good luck to you, and we're glad you're back, Coach Aaliyah. I got to get used to saying that.
Right?
We're glad you're back, and good luck in your professional running, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks, J-Mo.
All right, on the Sic Em Podcast, presented by Harley Davidson of Waco.